Ms. Harris here. Today we'll overview the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. During the crisis, the President of the United States was John F. Kennedy, known as JFK. He was president from 1961 to 1963 when he was fatally assassinated. On October 15, 1962, U.S. spy planes discovered that the Soviet Union was trying to send nuclear missiles to Cuba. Cuba is very close to the United States, so if the Soviet Union deployed those missiles from their ships, the United States could quickly be attacked. President Kennedy had a lot of people giving him advice on how to resolve this conflict. Some of the options presented to him were to strike first or potentially be attacked. Kennedy didn't like those plans, so he came up with a better option: diplomacy and negotiations with the Soviet Union. President Kennedy gave a speech to the public on television demanding that Khrushchev stop the ships, Khrushchev being the leader of the Soviet Union. President Kennedy famously stated in this speech, "Our goal is not the victory of might, but the vindication of right. Not peace at the expense of freedom, but both peace and freedom, here in this hemisphere, and we hope around the world." The public was in crisis mode despite of his speech because the United States could cease to exist at any moment. It was mayhem. If you heard that this was happening right now, today, how would you react? Take a moment to discuss with a peer. Alright, let's move on. The Soviet ships traveling with the nuclear missiles to Cuba were stopped by United States ships. They stayed unmoving in the water for 5 whole days. This standoff could have caused World War III, so there was a lot of tension from that blockade. Khrushchev accuses Kennedy of trying to start a war, which is exactly what Kennedy was trying to avoid. Kennedy is frustrated that talking diplomatically with Khrushchev is not working. President Kennedy's administration discusses the real possibility that the Soviet Union will not remove the missiles in Cuba. Then the United States would have to invade Cuba to take over the control of the missiles. This could create a war with Cuba. People did not want more war because there was a brutal war going on in Vietnam for the past 7 years. The public resolution made was that Khrushchev agreed to not place missiles in Cuba if Kennedy agreed to not invade Cuba. This worked out well in the public's favor since they didn't want war and neither did Kennedy. However, the private resolution between the two leaders was that Kennedy agreed to withdraw the United States missiles in Turkey. The public didn't know that the United States had missiles in Turkey. Turkey is very close to the Soviet Union, so the U.S. could have attacked them whenever they wanted to. The United States and the Soviet Union agreed to start making treaties to limit nuclear weapons. This began to wind down the tensions between the two countries. Does anyone know when the tensions fully settle down? Take a minute to take a guess. So the tensions fully settled down in 1991 when the Soviet Union fully dissolved. Alright, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Talk to you soon.